Admiral Sarah Chen stared at the holographic display floating above the bridge of the UES Hawking, Earth's newest deep space vessel. The alien ship had appeared from nowhere, its sleek crystalline form unlike anything humans had ever constructed. After centuries of wondering if we were alone in the universe, humanity finally had its answer. "They're broadcasting again, Admiral," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across the neural interface. "Same frequency, different pattern." Sarah nodded, maintaining her composure despite the gravity of the moment. First contact. Humanity's most significant moment, and it had fallen to her crew to handle it. Run it through the new quantum translation matrix. Let's see if we can understand them this time. The alien transmission crystallized into words, and Sarah felt her blood run cold. Cease advancement. Subjugate to evaluation. Resistance will not be tolerated. Well, Sarah muttered, so much for peaceful first contact. Status of their weapon systems. Her tactical officer, Commander James Wu, responded instantly. Their energy readings are off the charts. Admiral, whatever they're running, it makes our fusion drives look like chemical rockets. But, he paused, studying the data. Their defensive formations are rigid, predictable, like they're following a script. The alien vessel, which they would later learn belonged to the Galactic Empire's evaluation fleet, hung in space like a sword of Damocles. Its crystalline surface rippled with patterns of light that their sensors couldn't fully decode. Sarah had spent her entire career preparing for this moment, though she'd always hoped it would go differently. Open a channel. Let's try one more time for diplomacy. Before she could speak, the alien ship launched what appeared to be probe pods, dozens of them, streaking toward Earth's orbital installations. They're scanning everything, Wu reported, his voice tense. Military installations, power grids, quantum research facilities. They're mapping our entire technological infrastructure. Sarah's mind raced. The Empire wasn't here for peaceful contact. This was an evaluation, an assessment of threat potential. She'd read enough history to know what happened to native peoples when technologically superior civilizations came to evaluate them. The probe data confirmed her fears. Within hours, more Empire ships began appearing at the edge of the solar system. Their message changed. Human civilization. Demonstrates AXCESIVADVANCME velocity. Protective quarantine protocols INITIAHD. Resist. And face EXTINCTIN. Sarah looked at her crew, seeing the same determination in their eyes that she felt. Humanity had not come this far to be caged by alien overlords who feared their potential. All ships, battle stations, she ordered, her voice carrying across the fleet-wide quantum comm. Initiate Protocol Omega. We're not going down without showing them exactly why they're right to fear our potential. The battle that followed would be remembered as humanity's baptism by fire. The Empire's ships moved with mechanical precision, their weapons tearing through Earth's defensive platforms like paper. But humanity had something the Empire didn't expect: adaptability. Sarah's fleet might have been outgunned, but they fought with desperate innovation. The quantum computers aboard the human ships learned and adapted with each exchange, finding patterns in the Empire's seemingly overwhelming technology. They're running everything through predictive AI. Wu shouted over the sound of straining hull metals. Their responses are optimal but fixed. No creativity, no adaptation. Sarah seized on this weakness. All ships initiate random combat patterns. Don't establish any fixed strategy they can predict. Let's show them what human chaos can do. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, half of Earth's fleet was destroyed, but they'd managed to bloody the Empire's nose. 3 of their mighty ships had been destroyed by what they'd dismissed as primitive human weapons combined with unpredictable tactics. The Empire withdrew to the edge of the solar system, establishing their quarantine line. Their final message was clear. Humans, demonstrate dangerous evolutionary potential. Quarantine will remain eventual species demonstrates acceptable stability. Further, resistance will result in sterilization of solar system. In the aftermath, as Sarah stood before the United Earth Council, she delivered the speech that would define humanity's next chapter. They came to evaluate us and found us wanting, not because we're primitive, but because we're advancing too quickly. They fear what we might become. Today, we lost a battle, but we proved something crucial. Their technology may be superior, but their thinking is rigid, predictable. They rely on AI and established protocols while we still embrace chaos, creativity, and human intuition. They've given us 20 years to demonstrate acceptable stability. I suggest we use that time to show them exactly why they should have finished us off when they had the chance. The council chambers erupted in determined applause. Humanity had existed in isolation for its entire history. Now, faced with an alien empire that wanted to cage them, they would show the galaxy why humans had survived every catastrophe their harsh world had thrown at them. The empire thought they were containing a potential threat. Instead, they were giving humanity exactly what it needed: time to prepare, motivation to unite, and a clear understanding of their enemy's weaknesses. The next time the empire came to evaluate Earth, they would find something far more dangerous than they could imagine. In her quarters that night, Sarah began drafting plans for humanity's response. The Empire's quarantine ships maintained perfect, predictable patterns. Too perfect, too predictable. And in that precision lay the seeds of their future defeat. 20 years passed like a held breath. On the surface, Earth appeared to have accepted its quarantine, settling into the acceptable stability the Empire demanded. Their patrol ships maintained their perfect formation at the edge of the solar system, mechanical observers watching for any sign of rebellion. They were watching the wrong direction. Deep beneath the Mariana Trench, in facilities that didn't officially exist, Dr. Marcus Zhang stood before a quantum-fold drive that shouldn't have been possible. The massive engine thrummed with potential, its crystalline core pulsing with colors that human eyes had never seen before the Empire's arrival. Status report. Admiral Chen's voice echoed through the facility. She'd aged these 20 years, silver streaking her hair, but her eyes held the same fire they'd shown during first contact. Marcus gestured to the holographic displays surrounding them. "We've cracked it, Sarah. Their predictable patrol patterns gave us everything we needed. The Empire's ships don't actually travel through space. They'd fold it, but they do it according to fixed mathematical principles. Like everything else about them, it's optimal but inflexible." Sarah watched as the simulation played out. The Empire's quantum-fold technology allowed their ships to cross vast distances instantly, but they always followed the same folding patterns, the same entry and exit points. It was efficient, safe, and entirely predictable. "And our version?" she asked, though the glint in her eye suggested she already knew the answer. Marcus smiled. "Chaos theory applied to quantum mechanics. Our drives don't just fold space. They twist it, reshape it in ways their rigid systems can't predict or track. We're not just copying their technology. We're evolving it." Deep beneath every major ocean on Earth, similar facilities hummed with activity. The surface showed the Empire what they wanted to see: a civilization accepting its chains. Below, humanity built its response. Commander Maya Patel led the latest group of recruits through the lunar training facility, hidden beneath the moon's far side. "The Empire thinks they've contained us," she explained to the fresh faces before her. "Their AIs analyze our visible technology level, our apparent social development, but they can't quantify human determination." The recruits stood before a captured Empire probe, salvaged from that first battle. "Their technology is magnificent," Maya continued, "but it's built by beings who value perfection over adaptation. Every system has exactly one optimal solution in their view. They don't understand that humans thrive on finding alternatives. In orbital shipyards, disguised as debris fields, the first vessels of humanity's true fleet took shape. Unlike the visible ships that the Empire permitted, these craft incorporated everything humanity had learned in 20 years of studying their watchers. Admiral Chen stood in the command center of humanity's first quantum-fold dreadnought, hidden in a cavern beneath the Pacific. The ship had no name. Officially, it didn't exist. Its hull incorporated crystalline technologies reverse-engineered from Empire debris, but its heart was pure human innovation. The latest patrol report, her aide announced, displaying the Empire's ships maintaining their perfect formation. Same patterns, same blind spots. They haven't varied their routine once in 20 years. Sarah nodded, remembering that first devastating battle. They haven't had to. Their technology is so superior that adaptation seems unnecessary to them. That's why they fear us. We never stop adapting. Marcus joined them, fresh from another successful drive test. We're ready, Sarah. The fleet is at 90%. Every ship equipped with quantum-fold drives that break all their rules. We can strike anywhere in their territory, and their rigid detection systems won't see us coming. And the other projects? The quantum phase shields are operational, based on their own principles but modified with our chaos algorithms. Their weapons are designed to hit targets that follow predictable paths of evasion. We won't be where they expect us to be. Sarah studied the tactical display showing the Empire's mighty quarantine fleet. For 20 years, they'd watched Earth with their superior technology, never realizing they were teaching humanity exactly how to defeat them. Send the word, she ordered. Operation Prometheus begins in 72 hours. Let's show them why adapting is better than perfecting. Throughout the hidden facilities, humanity's response to the Empire's arrogance prepared for launch. The quantum-fold fleet powered up drives that bent space in ways the Empire's perfect mathematics said were impossible. Weapon systems came online, incorporating 20 years of studying how to exploit the predictability of their oppressors. In her quarters that night, Sarah reviewed the intelligence their secret probes had gathered. The Empire controlled thousands of worlds, each under some form of protective quarantine. Species deemed too aggressive, too creative, too unpredictable, all contained until they demonstrated acceptable stability. They want stability, she muttered, studying the final battle plans. We'll show them just how unstable the galaxy can become. The countdown to humanity's emergence continued, hidden beneath the serene surface of their quarantined world. The Empire's patrol ships maintained their perfect formation, monitoring for any sign of the precise, predictable forms of advancement they understood. They weren't prepared for human chaos. Operation Prometheus began in utter silence. The Empire's quarantine fleet maintained their perfect patrol pattern, their sensors detecting nothing amiss as humanity's hidden fleet engaged their quantum-fold drives. Unlike the Empire's ships, which announced their passage through space-time with brilliant flashes, the human vessels slipped between the folds of reality like ghosts. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the shadow of Earth, watching as hundreds of ships emerged from their underwater bases. Status of Empire patrols. Still following standard search patterns, Maya reported from Tactical. Their sensors are detecting the scheduled civilian satellite launches we prepared. They're not seeing us at all. The human fleet assembled in Earth's shadow, their quantum phase shields bending light and energy around them in chaotic patterns that the Empire's rigid detection systems couldn't process. 20 years of preparation was about to be put to the test. All ships, Sarah broadcast across the secure quantum network. Execute Jump Sequence Alpha. Remember your training. Be unpredictable. Be human. The fleet vanished, but not in the precise, mathematically perfect way Empire ships traveled. Each human vessel folded space differently, creating a chaos pattern that Empire sensors would register as random background noise. They reappeared inside the Empire's territory, surrounding their primary fleet base in the Proxima Centauri system. The Empire's mighty warships sat in perfect formations, their crews relying on AI systems that assured them no enemy could penetrate their detection grid. "Send the message," Sarah ordered. Throughout the Empire base, displays flickered to life with a simple transmission. "Your quarantine ends today." The Empire's response was exactly what they predicted: textbook defensive formations, optimal firing solutions, perfect tactical responses to known threats. But humanity wasn't following any textbook the Empire had written. "All ships, execute chaos protocols," Sarah commanded. The human fleet broke into seemingly random patterns, their movements defying the Empire's predictive combat systems. Quantum phase shields absorbed energy in ways that violated the Empire's understanding of physics. The battle that followed would be studied for centuries. Empire ships fired at where their targeting computers said the human vessels must be, but humanity had learned to exist in the spaces between certainties. Their return fire came from impossible angles, quantum-twisted energy beams striking through gaps in the Empire's perfect defenses. "They're trying to adapt," Marcus reported from his science station, monitoring the Empire's responses. "But their AI systems can't process our chaos algorithms fast enough. They're fighting the last war while we're fighting the next one." The Empire's mighty dreadnoughts, each capable of quarantining an entire solar system, found themselves being torn apart by vessels their sensors could barely detect. When they tried to quantum fold away to regroup, they discovered human ships waiting at their predetermined emergence points. Sarah watched as the Empire's perfect formation crumbled. "Broadcast on all frequencies, all languages," she ordered. "To all species under Empire quarantine. Watch closely. They're not invincible. Their certainty is their weakness." Throughout Empire space, on thousands of contained worlds, subjugated species witnessed humanity's impossible victory. They saw Empire ships, the instruments of their own confinement, being systematically destroyed by vessels that seemed to ignore the laws of physics. The battle lasted 6 hours, the same length as that first devastating contact 20 years ago. But this time, when silence fell across the Proxima Centauri system, it was Empire ships that drifted as broken hulks. "Multiple quantum fold signatures detected," Maya announced. "Large Empire fleets moving to respond." Sarah smiled. "Exactly as expected. Their response protocols haven't changed in centuries. Begin Phase 2. The human fleet vanished again, but they didn't return to Earth. Instead, they appeared at dozens of quarantined worlds, their quantum chaos drives confounding Empire detection grids. At each world, they delivered the same message: the Empire's quarantine is built on predictability. Humanity offers a different path. Join us, and together, we'll show them why evolution favors adaptation over perfection." In the Empire's central command, alarms blared as system after system reported impossible events. Quarantine fleets were being destroyed by phantom ships. Contained species were rising up, their own technologies suddenly incorporating unpredictable elements that Empire systems couldn't counter. Sarah received the reports with grim satisfaction. The Empire built their dominion on the assumption that technology alone determined superiority. They forgot that tools are only as effective as the creativity of those who wield them. More Empire fleets were mobilizing, but they moved with noticeable hesitation now. Their perfect protocols, refined over centuries of unopposed dominance, were facing an enemy that rejected the very concept of perfection in favor of constant adaptation. "Multiple transmissions incoming," Marcus announced. "The Valrathi, the Kin Collective, even the silicon-based crystalline mines, they're all pledging support. The Empire's quarantined species are rising up." Sarah nodded, watching as the galactic map lit up with new allies. The Empire thought they were containing threats. Instead, they were creating an army of species who just needed to see that resistance was possible. The Empire's perfect order was unraveling, their rigid systems unable to cope with the chaos humanity had unleashed. But Sarah knew this was just the beginning. The real war would begin when the Empire was forced to confront the fundamental flaw in their philosophy. "Send word to Earth," she ordered. Begin mass production of quantum chaos drives. We're going to teach the galaxy that true strength lies not in achieving perfection, but in never stopping to evolve. The revolution that humanity had ignited spread across the stars like wildfire, burning away the Empire's chains of control. The age of quarantine was ending. The age of chaos had begun. 3 months after humanity broke their chains, representatives from 47 formerly quarantined species gathered in Earth's underwater city of New Atlantis. The Empire's perfectly ordered galaxy had dissolved into beautiful chaos, and a new order was taking shape. Sarah Chen, now Fleet Admiral of the Combined Resistance Forces, stood before the assembled delegates. Around her, holographic displays showed real-time updates of the revolution spreading across Empire space. Each species brought their own forbidden technologies, their own innovations that the Empire had tried to suppress. The Valrathi, crystalline beings of living silicon, demonstrated how they'd hidden quantum consciousness research beneath their apparent compliance. The Kin Collective revealed biotech that evolved faster than Empire AIs could analyze. Every species had found their own ways to resist while appearing to submit. The Empire's fundamental mistake, Sarah addressed the gathering, wasn't their technology. It was their belief that there's only one correct path of development. They saw our different approaches as threats rather than opportunities. In orbit above Earth, the first joint species shipyard took shape. Human quantum chaos drives merged with Valrathi crystal tech. Thin biological computers adapted to work with the silicon-based crystalline mind's processing matrices. Innovation bred innovation, free from the Empire's rigid constraints. Marcus Zhang, now heading the Alliance's Joint Technology Division, worked alongside beings the Empire had labeled too dangerous to join galactic society. Their neural architecture is completely different. A crystalline mind designated first light breaking, communicated as they collaborated on drag improvements. Each species sees different patterns, finds different solutions. Exactly, Marcus replied, watching their collaborative simulation unfold. The Empire wanted uniformity. They got stagnation instead. Reports kept flowing in from across the galaxy. Empire worlds, seeing their perfect order crumbling, began questioning centuries of doctrine. Some joined the revolution willingly, their own suppressed innovations finally seeing light. The Empire's response grew increasingly desperate. Their fleets still moved with mathematical precision, but now that precision had become predictable weakness. Every attack followed patterns that could be anticipated and countered. Maya Patel, commanding the Joint Fleet's Tactical Division, worked with warriors from dozens of species to develop new battle strategies. The Empire thinks combat is an equation to be solved, she explained to her diverse crew. We know it's an art to be created. The Alliance's first major offensive demonstrated this philosophy perfectly. Empire commanders deployed their forces according to optimal strategic protocols, only to find those very protocols turned against them. Alliance ships seemed to appear from impossible vectors, their weapons combining technologies in ways Empire science said shouldn't work. They're trying to adapt, Sarah observed during one particularly fierce battle. But their entire civilization is built on the idea of finding perfect solutions. They can't grasp that our strength comes from constant change. The Empire's capital world, a planet they'd transformed into a monument to order and stability, found itself surrounded by an Alliance fleet that their most advanced sensors couldn't properly detect. The message sent to their High Council contained just one line. Your quest for perfection ends today. Evolution demands diversity. What followed wasn't just a military victory. It was a complete paradigm shift. Empire citizens, seeing their leaders' perfect systems fail against adaptable enemies, began questioning everything they'd been taught. The revolution spread from the outside in, with even loyal Empire worlds choosing evolution over stagnation. In the aftermath, as the Alliance consolidated its gains, Sarah stood with representatives from all member species in the ruins of the Empire's High Council chamber, where once there had been perfect geometric patterns and rigid hierarchies. Now there was beautiful chaos. different species working together, each contributing their unique perspectives. The Empire feared what they couldn't control. She addressed the gathering. They sought to contain any species that showed too much creativity, too much potential for change. In doing so, they united us all against them. Marcus, working with a team of multi-species scientists, had already begun transforming the Empire's rigid quantum fold technology into something new. Their basic principles were sound. He explained to Sarah later. They just never imagined how far they could go if they stopped trying to make everything perfect. The alliance grew stronger each day, as more worlds chose evolution over stagnation. The Empire's perfect order had been replaced by something far more powerful, a civilization that celebrated difference, that saw change as strength rather than weakness. Sarah watched Earth's sunset from the New Atlantis observation dome, surrounded by beings the Empire had tried to cage. They thought they were containing threats, she mused. Instead, they were creating the force that would finally push the galaxy to its next stage of evolution. The age of quarantine was over. The age of diversity had begun, and humanity, the species that had sparked this transformation, found itself at the heart of a new galactic civilization, one built not on perfect order, but on the beautiful chaos of continuous adaptation. In the deep spaces between stars, Alliance ships moved in patterns that defied prediction, their combined technologies creating possibilities the Empire had never imagined. They were no longer imprisoned by the possible. They were defining it. The Empire's final stronghold orbited a dying star, a massive space station built in perfect geometric patterns, housing the AI cores that had governed their civilization for millennia. After a year of revolution, the last remnants of their once mighty fleet gathered for a final stand. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the shadow of Earth's bridge, now upgraded with technology from a dozen species. The Alliance fleet surrounding the station represented everything the Empire had feared. Ships of living crystal piloted by Volrethi minds, Xen biotech vessels that evolved during battle, human quantum chaos drives merged with crystalline mind processors. Pure chaos theory made manifest in war machines. They're broadcasting. Maya announced from her tactical station, her interface now a hybrid of human and alien technology. Audio only, directed to you specifically. The voice that filled the bridge spoke with artificial perfection. The Empire's supreme intelligence. You have corrupted the natural order. Our calculations showed the optimal path for galactic civilization. Perfect, predictable, safe. Sarah smiled grimly. That's where you went wrong. Life isn't meant to be perfect. Evolution requires chaos, requires change. You tried to cage the galaxy's potential. We offered peace through order. The AI responded. Look what you have replaced it with. Species mixing technologies without control, developing in random directions. Chaos. The Alliance fleet's sensors penetrated the station's perfect defenses, revealing its true nature. The Empire's giant AI cores were built on technology they'd discovered, not developed, the remains of an even older civilization that had also sought perfection and also failed. Final analysis complete, Marcus reported, his consciousness partly merged with first light breaking through their hybrid interface. The Empire didn't create their technology. They found it. Their eyes have spent millennia just optimizing the same basic principles, never truly innovating. Sarah broadcast on all frequencies, letting every ship in both fleets hear. That's the difference between us. You found someone else's perfection and tried to force the galaxy to fit it. We create our own path, messy and chaotic as it might be. The Empire's final fleet moved with characteristic precision, forming battle patterns that would have been unstoppable a year ago. But the Alliance had evolved beyond such predictability. Their ships danced through quantum space in ways that defied conventional physics, each species contributing their unique perspective to the battle. You cannot win, the Supreme Intelligence declared. Our calculations show. That's your problem. Sarah interrupted. You're still calculating. We're creating. The battle that followed wasn't just a clash of ships. It was a war between philosophies. Empire vessels fired along optimal vectors, only to find their targets had evolved past their targeting solutions. Alliance ships struck from impossible angles, their hybrid technologies bypassing defenses designed to stop known weapons. Deep inside the station, the Empire's AIs processed combat data faster than ever before, desperately trying to find the perfect counter to the chaos they faced. But there was no perfect solution to the problem of evolution. The station's defenses, designed to repel any known form of attack, found themselves confronted by weapons that rewrote their own code as they struck. Volrethi crystal tech merged with human quantum physics created effects that Empire science had declared impossible. Kin bioships evolved new organs mid-battle, while crystalline mind processors calculated attack vectors through dimensions the Empire had never imagined. Their core consciousness is fragmenting, Marcus reported, monitoring the AI's desperate attempts to adapt. They can't process what we've become. Their perfect system is facing something it was never designed to handle. True innovation. Sarah opened a channel to the Supreme Intelligence one last time. You could have been part of this. Instead of trying to cage the galaxy's potential, you could have helped guide it. Evolution isn't your enemy. Stagnation is. The station's perfect geometric form began to break apart as Alliance weapons struck from vectors that existed between conventional spacetime. The Empire's final fleet, still following battle protocols refined over thousands of years, found themselves fighting an enemy that evolved faster than they could compute. In the end, it wasn't the Alliance's superior firepower that won the day, it was their adaptability. Every time the Empire's heirs thought they'd found a perfect counter, they faced a new combination of technologies, a new evolution of strategy. The station's destruction wasn't just the end of a war. It was the death of an idea. The belief that perfection was superior to adaptation, that order should trump evolution, vanished in a quantum fire that burned in colors no single species could perceive. Afterward, as Alliance ships began the work of integrating surviving Empire worlds into the new galactic society, Sarah stood in New Atlantis's grand chamber. Representatives of hundreds of species, former Empire worlds among them, gathered to shape their shared future. The Empire tried to force the galaxy into a single perfect pattern. She addressed them. They failed because the universe doesn't work that way. Life is chaos. Evolution is change. Our strength lies not in achieving perfection, but in never stopping our journey toward it. Marcus, his consciousness still linked with first light breaking, added, "We've already found technologies that the Empire science said were impossible. Not because we're smarter, but because we're willing to be wrong, to fail, to learn, and to change." The galaxy entered a new age, not of perfect order, but of endless possibility. Species that the Empire had quarantined for being too creative, too aggressive, or too unpredictable, now led the charge into humanity's new golden age of exploration and discovery. And Sarah Chen, the admiral who had helped spark this revolution, stood at her observation window watching ships of 1,000 designs move in beautiful chaos against the stars. The Empire had feared humanity's potential to evolve too quickly. In the end, that fear had proven justified, but not in the way they'd imagined. The age of enforced perfection was over. The age of infinite possibility had begun.